Hello friends, welcome to Daily Flow Yoga and Meditation. My name is James. This week we approach the third of the niyamas, the second in Patanjali's 8 limbs of yoga. Santosha means contentment, being in a state of contentment. In the Vinyasa sequence that follows, you'll have the opportunity to build to some potentially very challenging balances. Can you stay with your breath and find contentment, acceptance of exactly where you are? That is yoga. If you enjoy these videos, please take a moment to hit like and subscribe and maybe share with a friend, or even better, comment below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to start a conversation, and I'd love for you to join us, either here in New York City in person or on Zoom from wherever in the world you might be. Visit dailyflow.yoga for more information. So good morning. Come into your comfortable seat. It's not very important exactly how you're sitting. It just matters that you feel connection to the mat beneath you. We're not going to be here for all that long. Just taking enough time to let your eyes flutter closed and be with what is. Doing your best not to judge anything, not to make a decision about what things should be, but just recognizing and accepting where they are. The second of the niyamas is santosha, or contentment. And he doesn't mean, I am told, he doesn't mean being happy with what is, being even satisfied with what is, but with accepting what is. Finding contentment with where you are and working from that place. To that end, this morning's Vinyasa practice will be informed by that, by doing some things that might be a little challenging, particularly in terms of balance, and recognizing where we are without judgment, accepting it fully. Not even just trusting that we'll improve, but recognizing that the improvement is unimportant. That what's important is that we're present with what is. With that in mind, we'll begin with 3 cleansing rounds of breath together. First, exhaling out whatever you might have. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling through an open mouth. Inhaling through the nose. Let it out. Third and final, inhale. Feel the expansion of the ribs. And then let that go. And right away, let's make our way to all fours. Setting up for your cat and cow. Your 10 fingers spread wide, wrist creases parallel to the top edge of the mat, and hips stacked over knees. Start to pull your heart forward for your cow shape. Start to round your spine for your cat shape. And let the intention here be simply linking movement and breath. So I won't say very much. Just use your inhales to get to something feeling like a cow pose, and your exhales to something feeling like a cat pose. And as you do that, notice if there are any sticky points or any points that you want to kind of skip over in that spine, and just recognize that maybe you need to do the opposite. Linger for a little bit longer in that spot to feel a little softening before moving through it. And as always, if there are any other subtle movements that are calling out to you, wagging the tail left and right, maybe making circles, maybe turning your hands over, that's my favorite. I say it every time because I do it every time. It feels so good on my wrists. And then coming back into your neutral space, index fingers pointing forward, maybe a little sort of, I guess what you'd call pigeon-toed if it was your feet. And then wrap those elbows under so that if you were to soften them, they would travel parallel to the edge of the mat. And then go ahead and float the right arm high to sky as you inhale. And as you exhale, thread that needle, so bring the right hand through, right ear comes down towards the mat. Maybe it rests on the mat. And then notice if your hips are suddenly all to the left and see if you can energize to the left knee a bit to help square them up. And then maybe you walk the left hand forward to deepen the shape, or you float it behind you in a half bind. The important thing is that you're breathing and that you're recognizing what's there. One more breath, inhaling and exhaling. And then start to untangle whatever you've got. Coming back to all fours, take just a moment to reestablish your quadruped and maybe another little cat and cow just to check in. And then finding your neutral spine once more, floating the left arm high as you inhale and threading it through as you exhale. Maybe left ear comes all the way to mat. It's okay if it doesn't quite make it. Maybe it's more the top of the head or the side of the head. Maybe walk that right arm forward. Energizing evenly through both knees to keep the hips square, which helps take pressure out of the low back and help the part of your spine that's meant to spiral, the part around your ribs, to do that twisting for you. One big inhale, one deep exhale, and then go ahead and come back to your all fours, your quadruped. And then tapping your toes back, sending your hips high, downward facing dog. Pedal out the heels, shake the head out. Soften the jaw, come back to your breath. And then coming into stillness, on your next inhale, unfurl your spine. This time we're going to move through your plank right to your up dog, but keep the toes tucked. Then exhale back to your down dog. Continue like this twice more, inhaling through plank to your up dog. Can you keep your legs strong, but your glutes soft? And exhale up and back. Inhale forward, the quadriceps are engaged, but the glutes are avoiding too much squeezing. And then finally, downward facing dog, and release the knees, untuck the toes. We're going to find a little bit of a puppy pose here. So walk the hands forward quite a bit. They might even come off the mat. And then send the tailbone super high. And consider if your sternum can reach the mat. Now, it might not touch. It doesn't quite touch for me. And maybe the forehead is down, or maybe the chin is down. The point here is, again, to feel a little wrapping back of the tailbone and a big opening in the heart space. Also, maybe some release in the space behind the heart. Now, notice what this back bendy feeling feels like. Breathe into it, inhaling and exhaling. And then go ahead and walk the hands back. Plant the hands, tuck the toes, back to your down dog. And now what can your down dog learn from your puppy? So nice strong arms, really extended, and then feel your sternum reaching back just like it was reaching for the mat in your puppy pose. And by really engaging the arms and pushing the mat away, you can maybe shift more weight into the legs, which in fact takes pressure off the wrists. And then bend your knees and slowly walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Coming to your forward fold, option to hold opposite elbows, little ragdoll, sway the hips. And since it's morning now, I don't know if you're watching this played back, it might not be, but slowly roll yourself up. I'm actually going to walk my hands up my legs to really feel every millimeter. And then gathering your toes to touch if that's comfortable for you, bringing your hands into prayer. Take a moment here to set an intention for your practice. A short positive statement for how you'd like to approach your time on the mat today. It can be as simple as a single word. Maybe that word is contentment. Maybe not. Find the connection of your feet. Energize through the blade edges of the feet, feeling a little lift in the arch. And then a little bit of softness in the knees. Find the kneecaps traveling upward. As you inhale, float your hands overhead. Taking just a moment here in this upward salute, maybe the arms travel back and the head follows the arms, maybe not. But remind yourself of that puppy pose, that sense of the heart lifting in this case, the sternum getting higher up and out of the low back space. And again, that little softness in the glutes to help free up that back space. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, plant your hands either on the mat or on your shins. As you exhale, step the left foot back. Release the knee down and untuck the toes. In this first round, I'll encourage you to interlace your fingers on top of the right thigh. Soften the shoulders down. Wrap the shoulder blades under gently. Now start to explore any connections, any points of contact you have with the mat, with the surface beneath you. Maybe you lift the toes of your right foot, helping to feel the four corners of that foot. And then with your hands on this thigh, press down. So like you're pushing that right thigh forward and down, which might help give you a little lift in that heart, which might remind you of your down dog, your puppy, your upward salute. And then maybe that allows a little bit of sinking in the hips. Inhale. As you exhale, take the left hand to the mat and float the right arm to the ceiling or the sky. Wrap that left shoulder blade under gently. Find a little extra lift in the left ribs. Inhale, look up. As you exhale, your right hand comes down and just step back to your downward facing dog. Find your grounding. Notice if this down dog feels different than your earlier ones. Mine does. Now on your next inhale, unfurl your spine, come forward to your plank. As you exhale, lower your knees. They'll land south of your hips. And then lower your chest and your chin, thinking about bringing your heart just forward of your hands. Inhale, release the belly down, find your baby cobra pose and stay. In this first baby cobra, maybe walking your hands off the mat a little bit, grounding down in the sits bones, grounding on the low belly, and softening through those glutes. Look up as you inhale. Lower down as you exhale. Plant the palms just under the ribs, tuck the toes, and then push the floor away, downward facing dog. Breathe. Inhale, lift your left heel high to sky. As you exhale, bring the left knee towards the nose. Strong right leg as you step the foot through. If it doesn't make it, just grab the ankle and bring it up. And then release the right knee down and untuck the toes. Coming up into your crescent lunge, interlacing fingers on top of thighs. Maybe notice if there's a way you tend to interlace your fingers and just change it, just to give a little bit of balance. And then the energy of those palms pressing the thigh forward and away, down and forward. And notice how that affects the points of contact you have with the mat. Every shape, no matter how simple or how complex, we build from the floor up. So that grounding down helps you to lift up. And especially as summer is coming and days get warmer, finding a sense of grounding and lightness will feel awfully nice. Inhale. And then on your next exhale, take the right hand to the mat, put the left arm to the ceiling. Find that wrapping under the right shoulder blade, right ribs, maybe give a little lift in those ribs. Look up, inhale. This time as you exhale, left hand will frame the foot. Tuck those right toes and just float the right foot forward to meet the left. Find your flat back as you inhale and bow as you exhale. Grounding down, root to rise, reverse your swan dive, inhale. Exhale, pull your prayer into heart center. Breathe, close your eyes, come back to your breath and back to your intention. We'll do that same thing again, just leading with the other leg this time. As you inhale, float your hands overhead. Maybe palms come together, stay for just a breath or two. Maybe those triceps are able to get by the ears. Maybe again, you find essentially your cobra shape. There are really not that many shapes that we make. We just do them in different configurations. Every pose contains every pose. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, find a nice flat back. And as you exhale, step the right foot back. Release the knee down and untuck the toes. Start by bringing your hands to your thigh. Find that grounding, that pushing down and away. Notice also that that might affect your back foot, the connection you have with the top of the right foot. I think that's good. And then maybe you float your arms by the ears. Maybe those arms start to travel back, creating that long crescent line from fingertips through back space down to your back foot. Inhale here. Exhale, right hand comes to mat, left arm floats high. Looking up, inhale. Exhale, let that left hand frame the left foot and then step back to your downward facing dog. One round of a vinyasa. Inhale, roll forward to your plank. This time maybe chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or back to that cobra and stay here for just a moment. All that nice opening in the heart space. Active through the tops of the feet, active through the quadriceps. Look up, inhale. Now downward facing dog as you exhale. Returning to this shape. It's nice to do familiar things. Inhale, lift right heel high to sky. And as you exhale, bring the right knee towards the nose. And then step the foot through. Release the left knee down, untuck the toes. And come up first with your fingers interlaced on top of the thigh. Find that grounding, that pushing forward and away, which gives a little space in the belly and in the heart. And then if you'd like, float the arms up. I say if you'd like, because if you wouldn't like, you don't have to. Inhaling. As you exhale, bring the hands to frame the foot. Tuck those left toes and float the left foot forward to meet the right. Find your flat back. And bow. Root to rise as you inhale. Pull your hands to prayer as you exhale. Close your eyes, back to your breath. We're going to do one more round with some slightly more progressed options. You don't have to take any of it. You can always release that knee down for a crescent, as more supported shape if you'd rather. Inhale, float your hands overhead. Find this moment of a back bend, and then exhale, bow. Inhale, find your flat back. As you exhale, step the left foot way back, but this time keep that knee lifted and rise up first with hands interlaced on top of right thigh. Now that same sense of pushing the floor forward and away is going to sort of force your left leg to also engage. So find that left quadricep in the ball of the left foot pushing back. Then again, if you'd like to float the arms up, you may. Inhale. As you exhale, bring the left hand down to the mat, right hand to sky, or the right hand can come to the right thigh if that's more comfortable for you. Maybe give that right wrist a roll around. Look up as you inhale. Exhale, hands frame the front foot, step back to your down dog. And then one round of a vinyasa of your choice. Inhale, roll forward. Exhale, lower in the manner you choose. Inhale, upward facing or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Returning to the shape, reminding yourself of something that maybe I've said or some other teacher has said that has resonated with you in connecting.
And then inhale, lift the left heel high to sky. As you exhale, bring the left knee towards the nose, scoop out the belly, step the foot through. And then ground down. Come, maybe you stop here first with fingers interlaced on thigh. So you find that grounding, you find that activation, and then maybe you float the arms. Again, totally your choice. Look up as you inhale. Right hand comes down to mat, left hand to sky as you exhale. Opening up through that heart space. If you keep that right leg super active, it will help keep the hips square, just like we did when we were on all fours, so that the part that is spiraling, that's twisting, is really through the ribs. Look up, inhale. Exhale, bring that left hand down and float the right foot forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bow. Inhale, root to rise, hands meet overhead. As you exhale, pull your prayer into heart center. Allow your eyes to flutter closed. Return to the breath. Return to your intention. Let your eyes flutter closed. Come back to that intention. And then float your arms overhead as you inhale. Exhale, fold forward. As you inhale, find a flat back, and as you exhale, step the right foot way back. Option to release the knee down or keep it floating, and then come interlacing fingers on top of left thigh. Really actively pushing that left thigh forward, pressing the left foot down. Notice that, engage the right leg. Lift the heart, maybe float the arms. Inhale. Exhale, bring the right hand down, float the left arm high. Look up, inhale. Exhale, left hand comes down, step back to your downward facing dog. One vinyasa of your choice. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Inhale, lift right heel high. Exhale, float right foot between hands. Ground down, rise up. Hands can come to thigh or directly up. Either way, breathe. Inhale. Exhale, left hand comes to mat, right arm high to sky. Inhale, look up. Exhale, bring the right hand down, float the left foot forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bow. Inhale, root to rise, hands meet overhead. Exhale, pull your prayer into heart center. So let's do one more round on each side. I'll add a couple of other options, this time with a little more balancing available to you if you choose it. If you don't, that's okay too. Find the connection of your feet to the floor. As you inhale, float your hands overhead. As you exhale, fold forward. Finding your flat back, as you inhale, step the left foot back as you exhale. And then come up into your high lunge. So here's our first opportunity to add a little bit of extra balancing. Shifting your weight forward, float the arms back, and start to send more weight into the right foot as you float into a warrior 3 shape. So arms can travel back, or if you'd like a little more challenge, a little more load, the arms can float by the ears. Inhale. And then can you soften the right knee, float back to your high lunge as you exhale. Lovely. Inhale here, and exhale, open out to a warrior 2 shape. So our first warrior 2, just check out your alignment. We're looking for the arch of the right foot to the heel of the right foot to bisect the arch of the left. That right knee is traveling over the right middle toe. Arms are long, hips and shoulders are in one nice stack. Beautiful. Inhale, flip the right palm, paint the sky, peaceful warrior. Stay like this as you straighten the right leg, creating a nice long line from right fingertips to right toe tips. And then as you exhale, reach the right arm forward for a triangle pose. Float the left arm up, maybe look up. So we've done a lot of kind of supported twists, which is kind of what this is as we find those right ribs wrapping under and looking up. You're more than welcome to stay like this, or to start to shift more weight into the right foot and once again float up, this time into a half moon pose. Reminder that half moon really is the same shape as triangle, you just happen to be floating the left foot. Notice if you had to collapse into your spine. Now remind yourself of that sense of pressing the right foot down, lifting through that right kneecap, helps to open up through the hip girdle. Also take pressure out of that right femur, coming into its hip socket. Inhale, and then super soft landing, warrior two as you exhale. Inhale here. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Step back. You can either take a vinyasa or you're welcome to skip it. Totally your choice. Either way, we meet in down dog. Inhale lifts the left heel high to sky. Exhale floats the left foot between the hands. Inhale rises you up to your high lunge. Now start to shift the weight forward perhaps. I'm going to float my arms back to come up into my warrior three shape. And then that gives me the opportunity, when the balance is a bit easier, to find that lifting out of the left hip socket. Leveling the hips will take pressure off of that joint, and then maybe floating the arms forward. Equally active in both feet. Inhale. Exhale, lunar landing, high lunge. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Good. Just take a breath or two here, establish the shape, find your alignment. Nice strong warrior. And then flip the left palm, paint the sky, peaceful warrior. Keep the left arm as it is, but start to straighten the left leg, reverse triangle. One nice long line from left middle finger to left big toe. And then start to send the right hip back as you reach the left hand forward, coming into your triangle pose. So notice your alignment here in triangle. You're wrapping that left hip in. Doesn't matter so much where the left hand arrives on the left leg. And now just start to shift the weight forward. Left hand can come to a block or to the mat, and maybe the right foot floats. But the alignment is the same as the triangle. Energize through the right foot. Look up to challenge balance. Look down to find more stability. Inhale. Exhale, soft landing, warrior two. Inhale here. As you exhale, cartwheel the hands down. And just like we've been doing, step the right foot forward to meet the left. Find your flat back. And bow. Inhale, root to rise, hands meet overhead. Exhale, pull the prayer into heart center. Now you have some idea of what's coming. Assuming I do it right, we'll take one more round. Inhale, float the hands overhead. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, find your flat back, and as you exhale, step the right foot way back. Find your grounding, rise up, high lunge. Really active here in both legs. Now your heart starts to travel forward, and it's that shifting forward of your weight that allows the right foot to float. It's the forward movement rather than the upward movement. So get long. Inhale. Exhale, float back to your high lunge. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Extended triangle as you straighten the left leg, or reverse triangle. Inhale. Exhale, triangle pose. Maybe you start to soften through the left knee. Maybe you start to float into your half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. Wrapping those left ribs under. Energy in both legs. Lifting up and out of that left hip socket, which gets tired when we spend a lot of time on it. Inhale. Exhale, float back, warrior two. Inhale. Take your vinyasa, or skip it if you'd rather. Always your choice. One nice expansive round of breath in your down dog, inhaling. Maybe flutter out or sigh the lips. Inhale, lifts the right heel high to sky. Exhale, float the right foot between the hands. Inhale, rise up to your high lunge. And then start to shift the weight forward. Exhale, warrior three. Inhale, get longer. Exhale, back to high lunge. Inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Flipping the right palm, paint the sky, peaceful warrior. And then on the next inhale, straighten the right leg, reverse triangle, inhale. Exhale, triangle pose. As you inhale, start to soften the right knee. Just shift your weight forward as you exhale, half moon pose. Inhaling. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down, lift the back heel, and then float that left foot forward and find your forward fold. Breathe. Stay here. Maybe separate the feet a bit. Hold opposite elbows. Find your ragdoll. And then roll up slowly, one vertebra at a time. Head and shoulders heavy so they come up last. Close your eyes, gather hands in prayer. Remind yourself of your intention. Sometimes when something is challenging, it's easy to get frustrated with how it's going. It's easy to want to focus on the result we desire, to be able to slowly and gently and effortlessly float into all kinds of fancy shapes. When I tell you it's unimportant, I mean it is unimportant. What is important is that you recognize where you are and embrace that for its own value. You're on the mat. That's what counts. Take your feet a bit wider. So the heels are on the mat and the ball mounds of the feet are just off the mat. We're going to lower slowly into our malasana, as I like to do. Coming down nice and slow for 5, 4, 3, 2, and arrive. Really actively press your palms together to guide the knees out, and then squeeze those thighs into the elbows to activate. Now find that lift to the pelvic floor. It's really tempting to sort of just dump down into this. And if your heels are not on the mat, then I'd encourage you to sit on a block or a stack of books or something that feels grounded. And then take the left arm down on a diagonal, float the right arm up high to sky. Wrapping that left shoulder blade under, notice the equal energy in both feet. Notice that lift of the pelvic floor, the mula bandha. Look up as you inhale. Back to center as you exhale. Float the right hand down, float the left arm up. Making a big diagonal line from fingertip to fingertip, pressing down evenly in both heels to keep the pressure out of the low back. Look up as you inhale. Come back to center as you exhale. And then reaching the arms forward. If you're sitting on something, move it to the side because you're coming to the mat. Have a seat. And then here you can either hold the shins or reach the arms forward. Roll down slowly, one vertebra at a time. Head and shoulders come down last. Breathe. Returning to this grounding, to this sense of being fully supported by the mat. How does that change you? How does the knowledge that class is winding down and that you have your full body in contact with the floor affect how you think about yourself and your practice? I don't have an answer for that, but you do. So for our simple inversion today, if you'd like to go to a wall, you may. I'm just going to do it here in the middle of the floor. Just straighten your legs to 90 degrees so that the soles of your feet face towards the ceiling. If you'd like, if you have a shoulder stand in your practice, you can take that. You can also roll up the spine a little bit and slide a block under the pelvic bone for a little more support, but I like this. Make a choice about your feet and let your eyes be open. This moment to reverse the blood flow helps to signal our nervous system that it can let go a bit, that we are safe. Keep your legs as they are, but soften the knees. And then float your arms up as though they were Frankenstein arms, and really relax the hands and relax the elbows. Notice how that release helps to drop the long bones, the legs, the bones of the thighs and of the arms down into their sockets. You can imagine that someone has little strings tied around your ankles and wrists and is just lightly holding them up. And then you can imagine that someone cuts the string on your left wrist and your left arm flops down. Cuts the string on your right wrist and your right arm flops down. Cuts the left ankle. Cuts the right ankle. Find the grounding of the four corners of your feet, knees pointed high to sky, and slowly roll up into your bridge pose, curling up one vertebra at a time. Noticing if there are any sticky spots that you want to skip over, and maybe, if that happens, rewinding and moving through them more slowly. And once you arrive in your bridge, maybe interlacing fingers, guiding shoulders towards one another, shoulder blades rather. Breathe. Again, softening through the glutes, through the jaw, allowing the calmness of your breath to calm everything. And then on your next inhale, lift a little bit higher. And on your exhale, roll down slowly, the way you came. I think it's important after back bending to counter with just a little bit of core work. So nothing too intense. Bring your knees towards your forehead towards your knees. And then either straighten one leg at a time, or maybe both of them. So maybe you have one knee in here, maybe both are straight. If you have one knee in, use your exhale to switch legs. And then use your next exhale to switch again. So you're doing kind of a bicycle. Inhaling, switching. Exhaling, switching. Or continue to hold this hollow body shape, softening your jaw, continuing to breathe, and then releasing what you've got. If you were doing the switches, the little bicycles, then just finish around. Now gather the knees in towards the chest and roll the low back out one way and the other, little massages. Planting your feet down, cross right ankle over left knee. Setting up for your supine pigeon. You're more than welcome to keep the left foot down and keep it nice and gentle, or you can thread the needle, interlacing fingers around left hamstring or left shin for a little more depth. And then using that right elbow to guide the right thigh out a bit, giving some more opening in the right IT bands, those abductor muscles. Inhale. Exhale, release. Go ahead and keep the ankle crossed there and just let this whole thing fall over to the left side. So as you come into your twist, the left knee is stacked on top of the right ankle. Maybe your arms go out in a T shape. Maybe you look over to the right. If that twist is a bit too intense, you can back off by untangling your legs. One more breath, inhaling, exhaling, and then coming back into center, uncrossing the ankle, planting the feet, square up the hips evenly if they went off to the side, which they probably did. And then go ahead and cross the left ankle with the right knee, make that figure four shape, Stay here for something a bit more gentle, or interlace fingers around thigh or shin. And then using that left elbow as a little bit of traction to gently guide the left thigh out. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale, release that. And then allow that whole structure to fall over to the right. Coming into this supine twist, arms can be out in a T shape or cactus. Maybe you look over to the left. The right knee might stay on top of the left ankle, or if that feels like it's too much, then you're right. There's one person in the universe that knows what your body feels like, and it's certainly not me. One more nice inhale, easy exhale, and coming back in to center. Untangle that. Give the knees another little hug in towards the armpits. If you'd like to take a moment for a happy baby, you may. Otherwise, just a little rock and roll is plenty, I think. And then release one leg, release the other. Find your Shavasana, final rest. Sometimes, for some of us, contentment is the most difficult when we are still. We are comfortable with the challenges of moving. We're comfortable with the challenges of exertion, and we understand our limitations there. But it's much harder sometimes to wrap our egos around the idea that stillness can be just as challenging, and that finding contentment here, finding full and loving acceptance of everything that is this moment, that's yoga. Start to find a little life in your fingers and your toes. Coming back into simple awareness of your breath in your body and of your body on the mat. With as little effort as possible, keeping your eyes closed if it's comfortable, begin walking your feet in, feeling each footprint one at a time, and then gently rolling to your favorite side. Allowing yourself this opportunity to be held, to be supported, to be cradled, and then slowly making your way to your comfortable seat. Again, with as little effort as possible. Come calling to mind any intention you may have set or anyone to whom you may have offered your practice. We seal our time together with the sound of one Om. You certainly don't have to. You can choose instead to take an extended exhale. If you choose to take the Om, it starts with an open-throated Ah at the back of your mouth, moves to an O at the middle, an oo at the front, and ultimately a hum. And then we send that hum vibrating up our noses out through the tops of our heads. One full round of breath first, inhaling fully, exhaling deeply, inhaling for Om.
bringing your thumbs to your forehead and bowing your chin towards your chest. The light that is in me bows to and honors the light that is in you. Namaste. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to like, share, and follow dailyflow.yoga.